Babies, the tender treasures of humanity. We adore them and we protect them. For 60 years, the March of Dimes has been our partner, keeping the perfect ones healthy and being a champion for the tiny, the weak, and the sick. But babies did not always have such champions. In ancient Greece, imperfect babies were thrown from a cliff. In Rome, they were put out to starve or be carried off by hungry animals. But even after infanticide was outlawed, babies still suffered from natural causes: tetanus, smallpox, diphtheria, typhoid fever, and cholera. In Salem, Massachusetts in the 1600s, infant mortality was 313 per thousand, over 30 times the current rate. Infant life began to take on importance when, in the 1700s, concerned physicians made the novel argument that babies were human beings with a right to life and liberty. However, it was not until the late 1800s that a concerted effort was made to save babies. Public health officials, alarmed by the rise in infant mortality caused by the Industrial Revolution, cleaned up crowded, dirty cities and improved the milk supply. Infant mortality began to decrease. New York City's rate in 1880 was 288 per thousand. By 1902, it was 160. A French obstetrician, Pierre Boudin, was the first to assemble the key elements of perinatal care. He promoted maternal breastfeeding, set up a program of infant care for Parisian mothers, and in the 1890s was a pioneer in the use of baby incubators. Boudin set the stage for strategies that would eventually be carried forward by the March of Dimes. To the surprise and shock of some, tiny babies became a popular attraction at fairs and exhibitions. Dr. Martin Cooney cared for 5,000 preemies. Some he displayed for a fee to offset the high cost of medical care. The turn of the century brought on a groundswell of interest in the health of babies. Well baby care was widely promoted, and healthy baby contests became the rage. But infectious disease still claimed the lives of thousands of infants and children. Among the worst was polio. In 1938, President Roosevelt, a polio victim himself, founded the March of Dimes to lead, direct, and unify the fight against this terrible disease. The campaign unified the nation and led to a gratifying victory. In 1958, the March of Dimes expanded its fight to save babies, declaring itself the champion of malformed infants who had been neglected by every facet of society. The March of Dimes attacked problems like mental retardation, funding the work of Dr. Robert Guthrie, who developed a simple blood test to screen babies for PKU and prevent a devastating form of mental retardation. The March of Dimes fought to help premature babies breathe. The technology of the positive pressure ventilator is an extension of the iron lung, which the March of Dimes developed for polio patients in the 1930s. Surfactant therapy was developed in the 1980s, nitric oxide in the 1990s. The March of Dimes became America's voice for babies, leading the push to put neonatal intensive care within the reach of every baby. Today, the March of Dimes continues to lead, direct, and unify the fight to save babies, funding gene therapy research that may one day mean cures for children with severe genetic birth defects, exploring the tragedy of premature birth, why it happens, and how it can be prevented, fighting for health care coverage for women, babies, and children. working to wipe out spina bifida by urging more women to take folic acid. America's interest in saving babies began less than a century ago. And for more than half a century, the March of Dimes has been the leader of this fight. The results have been remarkable. In the 1960s, more than 72% of all tiny babies died. Today, more than 90% survive. The true measure of this success is in the lives of families. Tanya Cosgrove's beautiful daughter, Brianna, was saved by neonatal intensive care. John DeLiso was saved by folic acid. And Sharon and Jennifer Chapman were saved by surfactant therapy. These are just some of the many thousands of babies saved by the March of Dimes. Results that have been achieved with the help of millions of Americans, with the active commitment of 3 generations of volunteers. In the next century, with your help, we will do even more to prevent birth defects, to save babies, together.